Queen Kathy's in. Sue's in the house. Oh, our favourite people. And Vidya's back. Fantastic. You gorgeous, glamorous person. Good on you, Paul. Still love that wall. I'm getting a closer up look at that wall now. That's fantastic. The successful, fabulous, magnificent Carol is in. Good morning, oh successful COC person who did a fantastic job in the authorship research integrity session this week. You were brilliant, Carol. That was brilliant.
Oh, thank you. I don't think so, but not on the authorship. I'm still learning so much, but I thoroughly enjoyed it and the experience.
It was fun, wasn't it? It was a big.
Yeah, it was great fun.
Woo, unbelievable. So, colleagues, I'm thrilled to see you all our favourite people here. Amina's in. We love it when Amina's in. Kyle's is in. Oh, yeah, Amina, you're wonderful. So, colleagues, welcome to Right Club. And the first rule of Right Club is...
Right.
Right.
Right. So Kylie, thanks. It was and so it had all the passion, but none of the sound. So, colleagues, let's enjoy ourselves. Queen Sue's in. Oh, Sue, look how glamorous your house looks. Oh, Sue, where's Sue gone? Has Sue gone? Oh, we'll have to wait till Sue comes back. So have a look at Sue. She looks like she's from a lifestyle program. That's fantastic. So, colleagues, let's begin. Adrian's in with us, and Mary, welcome. It's lovely to see you. You look fantastic. Look at that perky scarf just flung over one shoulder. Magnificent. Yeah. Yes, I know. I'm a bit, that's exactly how I'm feeling on this Friday, Mary, but you're doing it with much more glamour than me. It's fantastic. And Emma has joined us in the most magnificent lime that is calming me down enormously. And Bess is in. Hello. It is lovely to see all my favourite people. So let's go for this. I'll see you in 29 minutes. Paul and I are going to be dueling with the dead during our writing this week. So we'll see you all in about 29 minutes. Take care. See you on the other side. Let's do it. Let's work hard. Last minute, colleagues. And we are completed. Ooh. Oh. 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 Gee, that was pretty intense, wasn't it? I felt that, colleagues. I felt that. And look, we'll go. I saw Bess. Bess's face looked like mine did when I said a minute to go. And by the way, we should say an enormous hello to all our friends around the world who join us on Saturday mornings, who do Right Club asynchronously, so they plug us in. So hi to Vic and hi to all our friends that have stayed with us right from the beginning, who may not be with us in real space here, but really do share this experience with us. So we love you very much, and you're very precious to us. Bess, what were you writing, my queen? Oh my goodness.
I didn't get a whole lot written, I'm afraid, because the physiotherapist arrived. I'm in Westmead Hospital with my teenager at the moment. They can't walk. We don't know why.
I was picking that up. I was going,
Yeah.
I didn't want to raise it just in case it was a thing. Are you okay?
I'm okay. They're not. Cognitively not too bad. You doing right there, kid? Say hi. I've got a headache. Right. Okay.
What's the legend's name, by the way?
Jay.
Jay, you're a legend. You look after yourself, mate. Look, you've got a headache. I've got a headache too. I've had a headache through 2023, mate. You look after yourself, brother.
It's been a long night. So yeah. I'm writing more introduction at this point. I'm behind in everything.
Don't worry. I still think it's 1987, Bess. Don't worry about it.
I've got my next meeting. I've had to postpone my next meeting, my last meeting with my supervisor until the 2nd of August. And I hope to God I can get something concrete to them by the middle of next week.
Yeah, Bess, as someone who spent a fair amount of time in full-time work while going in and out of hospitals caring for another human, you do what you can, and bless you, darling, bless you, you're doing great, just hang in there, and you're there, and I understand that. Just write what you can. You got the computer in, that's a great thing to do, all right?
Yeah. Thank you,
darling. You're doing brilliantly. You're doing exactly what you need to do, and you're doing enough because you are enough. Okay, Bess?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, we're with you, darling. All right, well, let's go to Paul, because yeah, that was pretty intense. My head nearly exploded dialoguing with my particular group of dead people. So Paul, how did you go dialoguing with your group of dead people?
Yeah, pretty good. Good. The great thing about dialoguing with dead people is they can't argue.
Yeah, mate.
It's all theory. It's great. But yeah, good. Yeah, I think we're both conjuring Roland Barthes quite heavily right now. I'm continuing to write bite-sized lectures for master students in the arts, and looking currently at forms of communication and the podcast. So I'm touching on the ideas we spoke about previously in
Yes.
Digital Stars around the death of the author and exposing the author.
Look, I'm interested in that, Paul, desperately, and also the work I'm tethering that to is Harold Ennis's work on the bias of communication too. So I'm then working it through bias. I'm sort of balancing it, but there's a lot going on there, brother.
Yeah. Well, we spoke about before. Yeah, bias is a big interest of mine, and obviously then I use the standpoint theory quite a lot and looking at people's perception. So yeah, that's a big part of my personal research, is looking at the bias of people and how they prefer to be communicated to.
Oh, that's huge. And can I say that my head just exploded, the relationship between standpoint theory and Ennis's bias of communication. I haven't got enough life left to work that through, but I'm going to have a good go, Paul. Mate, thank you for everything. You are just absolutely legendary. Shall we go to the breath of spring that is Carol? Carol, what were you writing on in your fabulous coral frock?
Yeah, I'm hoping I just unmuted. I'm actually deeply engrossed in research methods and my ethics application. And it's I realized just how much I still don't think I know, but I'm working through. I've made a conscious decision yesterday not to go forward to the next ethics, which is due on the 27th. And the reason for that is my confirmation's just finished, but primarily it's because I want to make sure that I've got a really good handle on this and I'm able to explain it really clearly to the people that I'm going to be working with and the organisations I'm going to be working with, and getting my Indigenous participation plan built up and done in a respectful manner. So I just made this big call. So it was pretty well close, but I just made this big call to just slow and go for the next one, although that will delay, and that really concerned me because I've already changed my milestone. But I think the respectful practice is the higher order in this one, and I'll start to do my first chapter and other things in the meantime.
So Carol, the advice always with ethics is try and do it once, do it as well as you can, and get that in. And can I say what you've just said there, and luckily it has been recorded, Carol, our conversation there goes straight in your methodology chapter. So just grab that conversation and you'll get a good page out of that, because that's actually methodology. Yeah. Okay. I'm still teasing out these. I'm a pragmatist. I'm still teasing out these things. I'm come from a practical background into this academia, and it's a new language. You are doing brilliantly, Carol. Absolutely brilliant. What a week you've had, my queen, you legend. And look, speaking of legends, we'll go from the coral to the red queen herself, Kylie. Oh, I'm excited, Kylie. What have we been doing, girlfriend?
Well, I started sort of detailing coming out of the last catch up where we were talking around taking the reader and the marker and examiner on the journey of data sets and how we've had to change our data collection plan. So wrote a bit of a paragraph around that. And then I got back to doing my final review of my paper, and I'm just sending it off to my supervisory team for their last look for submission. So let's get there. I'm ready to send it now, but I thought I'd better just get one final check.
No, just hang with us, because as I've often said, this is often a great space, and some of our wonderful men that join the call have used this space as their proofing space. So this is their final read, and they do that, and it's worked incredibly well. So
and actually just had a little moment too when reading through it again, because I haven't looked at it for this week, just to have the clearer eyes, and I thought, geez, I can write. That sounds clever.
And
yes, I had one of those moments.
And you deserve that moment, and you deserve our support. So that's terrific. Well done, Kyles. What a legendary morning. Your disciplinary literacy for the win. Come on. You're the best in the universe. Well done. And look, shall we go to the legend that is Kathy? Kathy's in. We love Kathy. So Kathy, what did you decide you were going to write on with us this week, Kath?
Well, because I'm absolutely, I'm starting from, from base. First of all, I was just researching to see what an artifact is, because I was saying, oh yes, I know, but I didn't. And in fact, I found a really terrific description of it on an IT site called Artifacts AI. Oh, what? And so now I know what an artifact is, and I realise that I'm on really, really safe ground. Because look, can you see behind me?
I certainly can.
That's one of my artifacts. That's my painting from some years ago of me and my very close friend, traditional owner, who was a senior elder of the Widjabul tribe where I came from at Nimbin. And he died a year ago, but he gave me permission. He absolutely gave me his blessing. And not only that, he got me started on all of this. I would not have known a single thing except that he chucked me into it. And as anybody knows who works with Aboriginal people, my apologies for talking about you here. I hope you can forgive me. But the fact is, it's another world. it's like falling backwards into a darkness that's not mine. And so I'm very careful about what I think and say about my beloved friends, because it's there. I mean, it's like a butterfly's wing, and they've lost so much and had so much stolen. I don't want to steal anything more. So what I decided long ago, working with my dear darling friend who's dead now, and he stop me if I'm saying to him, if I'm
Oh, you're not, you're magnificent.
Okay.
I was just
now I met him when I started my law degree in '93. So at one hit, I was involved in the law, and oh my God, like finding out about Aboriginal people. Because when I moved to Nimbin, I said, where are all the Aboriginal people? What's happened to them? I found out about the massacres. I found it, and in fact, I wrote, when I did finally finish my law degree, I wrote an article called 4 Native Title Poems and a Colonial Document, which must be the only time that poetry has ever been allowed into a law journal, only because of David Halpern. Because David Halpern refereed he's a poet himself, and so otherwise, so I was allowed to be weird and, have poetry in a law journal about native title and massacres and driving back and forth to visit people in jail and so on and so on.
Remarkable.
And now I know what artifacts are, and I realise that, as you told me very plainly, and as other brilliant people told me in emails and last week and so on, that if you want to include an artifact, what you do is you have to have these iron-bound theoretical justifications for using them. So I said last week, it suddenly popped into my mind the way things do. I thought that I will have 100 chapters, because there's 100 pieces of my thesis, by the way, which I've been working on for years and years and years, ever since this fella threw me into it, because he sent me to look for the 1839 Crown Lands Act, because that was the very beginning of their native title trip. And when I looked for it, I went down to Sydney, and I went to the law library you can't go to anymore in Phillip Street, because they'd hidden it all away, and anything that hasn't been, turned into code, you can't find it anymore. You're not allowed to touch books anymore or anything like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, I found the 1839 Queen Victoria's ordinance to Aboriginal people, or to the Rottens, the government of New South Wales. Then still, I don't know if it was still known as New Holland. It didn't become Australia till much later. Anyway, so I found her ordinance, which said very plainly that Aboriginal people are British subjects. They do have rights. All of our wealth is based on their resources. The women aren't to be bothered or raped, and the elders have to be treated with. Now, this is 1839, folks. Have you ever heard of that document? No, because the government then and since buried it in tiny print about as big as an ant's footprint. It was buried at the bottom of this act, the Crown Lands Act, in a tiny, weeny little thing right at the bottom of the page. And then the next day, it was, as my poem says, it was supposed to be read to the border police. You will not rape. You must treat the Aboriginal people with respect. And most of all, it only took 150 years to get here, but it said that all people who died in a violent confrontation with the police or the government, had to have a coronial inquest. Wow, they're just having 2 now in Northern Territory.
But I mean, Kathy,
it only took 145 years.
No, it's amazing. And Kathy, your remarkable work is going to really do some delicate ontological analysis.
Delicate, it's not, it's dynamite.
Oh, it is, but you've got to do, because it's the nature of Indigenous research, doing careful.
Oh, yes. I do know that. I know, and I know very, very closely the exact words, the respectful partnerships and so on. And I realise that I'll have to go and get permission from the family that's still alive. His family and so on. And I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I've got to do it so that everybody. But I've got permission for a lot of stuff in the past.
That's powerful, Kathy. And look, we'll engage with Queen Maeve, because Maeve, of course, is doing artifact exegetical work with some very interesting engagement with some Indigenous matters. So, Maeve, what were you working on
Some
today,
clues.
Queen?
Thank you very much for it's so wonderful. You have no idea what it feels like for me to come out of my cave and meet this fabulous woman, Tara, and all the rest of you. It's just so exciting.
You are precious to us, Kathy. You are our heart. You hang in there, darling. You're doing well. And Maeve, where are you on your artifact exegetical journey at this juncture?
So, Kathy, lean in for this one, because I would imagine that I'm doing roughly the kind of PhD that you will be doing. And I had firstly, can I throw out, a lot of people watch us on a Sunday morning as if they are participating. And so a big throw out to our Sunday morning people, in particular Catherine Hardwick-Franco, who's been very supportive to me in the last couple of weeks. So, Kathy, I do a creative-led PhD, and the creative-led PhD is based on Tara's book, so plus colleagues, and that came out in 2020, I'm pretty sure.
Yes, it was. It was full COVID. Yep, full COVID 2020.
I won one by participating over the internet. So anyhow, so it's always memorable to me. So the one that I do, Kathy, has the exegesis. It has the artifact. And it was Cheryl Hayden who was my person of the same relationship, because remember when I was new, it was Cheryl who understood the type of PhD that I was doing, and I used to write everything she said, and we're still in touch now, because we had a very strong link through that. So Kathy, I'll have to throw this in. I live at Murwillumbah, so let's hand that for today. But I live at Murwillumbah. Kathy will know that I am down the road. And that was what I was going to say to Liam. We are down the road.
Did you flood?
What's that?
Did you flood?
We're leaving that one, Kathy. So, so Kathy, so we have the exegesis, we have the artifact, as you mentioned, and then I use what Tara has taught me through the book, which is the mitigating journal. So I'm leading that around very specifically, because I wrote 700 words this morning in my mitigating journal in our half hour, because the journal, Kathy, is a place to think in neither of the other two formed categories.
Yes.
So in the mitigating journal, which links the two, I commented on the iterative discussion we had in digital office hours, and also, of course, Paul's super timelessness throw in, and written down every link that you or he has said. So just want to link all that together for you, Kathy, because that mitigating journal is the place where you can put your thoughts about what you think you will do. And that is what I did, because I had the privilege of coming in maybe 3 or 4 months earlier on calls like this. And I was pre my actual candidature.
Yes.
So what I used to do, doesn't mean everybody would want to do this, but I used to spend every half hour that we were writing in, I spent it reflecting on what I thought I would do.
Yes.
Doesn't mean it was what I did, but that consistent reflection is an essential part of a tight creative PhD.
Well said, Maeve, and that will help Kathy a lot, and that's helped me a lot. And I wonder if we should now go to the legendary Mary too, Maeve, because Mary's been with us and so engaged and focused on something. So Mary, what were you engaged and focused on? Unbelievable.
Sending off my lit review to my supervisors. Lit review and methodologies. Yeah.
How did it go, Mary? What do you think?
Oh, I think it's good. I think it's comprehensive. one thing about the literature review, and Kathy might find this very useful as a late development in it, I came across the theory of settler colonial theory.
Yes.
And Kathy, the idea of making Indigenous people British citizens also happened in Western Australia. From the start of colonisation, Indigenous people were declared to be British citizens, but obviously the settlers immediately treated them in a different way and were violent. You know, within 6 months of colonisation of Perth, the first massacre happened at Gallup. And the theory of settler colonisation really helps explain this idea. And I'm starting to tease out with my research the difference between the ideas that the Colonial Office in London had about how colonisation was going to proceed and what was actually happening when settlers came and invaded Indigenous country. Now, the idea of settler colonialism is that it's an idea of replacement. So the people arrive with these myths in their head that it's terra nullius, that there's no one here. And if they do discover some people here, their culture doesn't count, they're not civilized. It's fine to replace them and take their land. So this settler colonialism idea was really developed in the 2010s by Lorenzo Veracini and other historians at ANU. And I'm finding it really enlightening because I am seeing a lot of stuff in the colonial archives where the authorities are going, you know, you can't do this to the settlers, and the settlers are going, you don't know what it's like on the ground. But it's because they have this idea of replacements. It was an invasion, and this idea of replacement and taking people's land inevitably leads to violence. So I'm wanting in my thesis now to start exploring this mindset that the settlers had and sort of expand maybe or develop further this idea, or how this idea of settler colonialism applies in particular to the massacre that I'm looking at in Western Australia in 1841 down at Geograph Bay.
Very strong, Mary. And can I just say, as an observer of your incredible research and as a West Australian, I'm so inspired by you, and to see the work you've done develop week upon week upon week is just revelatory, my queen. So Mary, good on you for today. That's a big moment. And look, we can only touch base with a couple more people, and you know perhaps where I'm going to go, colleagues. We're on our driftwood. We're driftwood time. We're drifting. Jane, what were you writing on this week?
Thank you, Sarah. Hello, everyone. While I'm waiting for my for the feedback from my discussion chapter, I embarked on the video of you 4 years ago about how to write a conclusion, and I have your 10 questions to guide my writing this week. And I'm very interested in one question relating to translocalism knowledge. And you saved me, Tara, because at the beginning people say, who on earth would be interested in the experience of women leaders in Vietnam? In Australia, how does it impact Australian University? And yeah, the translocation knowledge that you state really helped me in shaping how I'm going to argue about that. Thanks.
And can I say, Jane, I'm interested in translocalism. I use it in different fora. I'd never thought how to use it in leadership studies till I met you. So Jane, you are stunningly amazing. Oh, translocalism and leadership. Oh, Jane, that's incredible. You're amazing. And look, colleagues, we'll finish. We could keep going for hours on this, but look, we will finish because we touch base with Dina every week because we're walking with Dina to her completion. So we're getting Dina to examination. So Dina, darling, how did we go, sweetheart?
Currently, I'm doing axial coding, so it's a very snail paced compared with every other of you probably. So I'm really cautious of doing axial coding because you have to compare between categories and subcategories, and even like when coding, for example, I'm now analyzing about the different perspective that the KSV, the villagers and the government have in establishing the KSBs. So the KSB think that government needs to be involved because it's their thing. They established it and they need to be there to mentor them. But on the other hand, the government says no, because we don't have the resources, or the principle is that you have to stand on your own feet and develop this further by yourselves. Now, I'm thinking, is the problem here the different perspective in the principle, or is it a result of what has been happening? So because the government tend to only build, to only establish, and then they will go on and establish new KSB in new places, and then they won't go back to these KSBs that was established prior. Is the different perspective caused by, it's the principle of being self-sufficient, or is it caused by the result of the government abandoning them? So some of the KSB feels a sense of abandonment when they talk about government. So it's, I'm just doing all the process of analyzing, and have to be very cautious, because if I put this in one set of categories and I analyze it in different lenses, then the subcategories that will follow, the condition, the context will be different. So
So Dina, I think what you're doing is amazing. And I think what you'll find, you're not going to find causality, I don't think, my queen.
Okay.
I think you're going to find some quite deep and complex correlations. And I think, and I just get nods or otherwise from colleagues, but I think you're going to find a combination of both. I think you've got originating discourses that start particular epistemological narratives, and particular financial conditions get involved that impact on regulation and governance. And so I therefore think that whatever that originating discourse was about regulation, it gets impacted. But I think you'll find some fascinating correlations, and don't think causality is all that matters. Potent correlations change knowledge just as much.
All right. Yeah. Thank you.
You're the best. So colleagues, what an amazing morning we've had. And that's just Kylie's hair. My goodness me. Colleagues, I thank you so much for your time and your company this morning. I've learned so much, and have a lovely week, and I'll see you next Friday. You are the best. Much love to you all. Thank you for everything. Can't manage without you.
Have a good week, everyone.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. We're out. See ya.